property, like every property, is really old, but the house itself predates the town of Ghostboro, and it has not the best history. So who knows what entity it is. It's likely to be the Moorheads because they had the largest concentration of deaths that have been recorded on the property. But like with any history, there's deaths that are not recorded. There's one story that somebody was walking down the steps in the back and they heard a big hey through the side of their face. But there's nothing totally malicious. No one's slamming anybody. You're pushing them down the floor, or scratching them like you see in other places. Everything is pretty light and just moving things, making noises. We typically assume that the ghosts or the entities that are here are Moorhead. There is no major sign. They don't sign their name out when they do things. But there was a large portion of deaths of the Moorhead family line here in the house. The biggest amount in a shorter period of time was when Emma Gray, his youngest daughter, bought the property from her brother after he passed, or after the Governor Moorhead passed. She bought the property from Eugene in 1890, and by 1895, herself, her husband, and 3 of her children died, all of tuberculosis. Their youngest son, Moorhead, came back from boarding school in Virginia and brought tuberculosis with him. Back and then, it was typical to enclose the house, nobody in or out, so the house became very stagnant, which was perfect for tuberculosis to just spread. So Moorhead was first to go, then Julius, the husband, Emma's husband, was second, then their daughter Jean, and then her sisters Jessie, and then Mrs. Moorhead, or Mrs. Gray herself, Emma Gray, died, all of tuberculosis from 1890 to 1895 in the house. In this hallway we have John Lindsay, who is the oldest son, with his wife, Sarah Pfeiffer. Her portrait, if you notice, is a little less detailed than most of the other ones. A big sign that this is a mourning portrait is the fact that her brooch is sideways. So that means the portrait was done of her after she died. So when I'm sitting in my office upstairs, I can typically, almost on a daily basis, hear 3 distinctive knocks down below me. I have been told that the previous person in my position also heard them as well. My first month here, I would go down and inspect them, and I didn't need to because there was nobody there. But sitting in my office, I can hear all sorts of things. It's in the back corner, second portion of the addition, so the 1820s addition to the house. But the knocks, I can hear paper rustling. I don't hear footsteps like everybody else does, but I have heard doors shut when there are no doors to shut. Most of the doors all have their very own distinctive noises. And especially with our alarm system, you know which door is going to open anyway because it will announce what door is opening. Other than that, there's been a few instances where it feels like somebody's in the room or watching me. I do kind of have a tendency to say hello to the house when I come in the morning. I used to sing the Singing in the Rain Good Morning song. And at night, I typically say goodbye to the house. We like to keep it happy. When it gets upset, it gets upset. The alarm system story was a coworker that she came in one morning and she could hear a big swooshing noise down the hallway. She looked at the alarm keypad and it said motion in governor's bedroom. She jolted out the door because that's where she thought she heard the noise coming from. And then within 15 minutes, another employee came to work that morning to find her outside walking around the house, patting it, telling it that it was okay, that everything was fine. There is a regular haunting tour that I believe goes throughout the entire year. His just main focus is during October. He does come by Blandwood. You'll see the outside of Blandwood. You won't actually get to go in Blandwood. But we do actually host 2 nights of ghost stories where we have a storyteller, Cynthia Brown. She comes in and she gauges the audience. Last year, the first night, it was full of kids and the ghost stories were oriented towards the kids. Second night, it was full of adults. So the stories were a little bit more scandalous and a little bit more intriguing. And I came in at the end of one story specifically. She said the tagline in the back of the room, you hear this man goes, "Oh, no." It was really fun. So the regular tours of the mansion are Tuesday through Sunday, Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then Sunday is from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and it's first come, first serve. So the stories that we have in the house, you can visit preservationgreensboro.org. We have an events section, or you can see us on Facebook. We post all our events on Facebook as well as Instagram, and that's just Preservation Greensboro.